your favorite YouTube channel is probably owned by private equity.
You spend long enough on YouTube, there's now a very good chance that a substantial share of your...
Me? I can't be bought. Psh, no shot. I mean, here at Third Eye Global, we are self-funded, completely off the grid, operating at levels the average normie can't even comprehend. Imagine taking private equity money. You think you could just buy me like a cheap date? Please.
Watch time is going to channels partially or fully owned by private equity. Major firms operating in this space...
I mean, look at that. That's private equity right there. I use your quote, if you can't do 20 push-ups, you are a victim. Did I say that? I've probably said that. It's true. It's actually true.
Have raised billions of dollars collectively.
You know what we did come up with? The 225 threshold. But our jokes, which is not even really a joke, has been stolen by Hassan Piker. That's right. Shit went viral on Twitter. That's crazy. I mean, they stole my whole flow.
Companies like SoftBank, Amazon, Disney, Goldman Sachs, and Blackstone, and they are using that money to acquire YouTube channels as strategic...
SoftBank? Why would you name your bank that? Hard bank only.
...strategic investments. According to my own analytics, where YouTube lets me see what...
You guys recognize all these channels? I know some of them. It's like the gamer people down here. This is Colin and Samir, Dude Perfect and Mr. Beast.
My audience watches, some of these names should be familiar to you. Task and Purpose, Veritasium, Donut Media, Simple History, Fern, Fireship, Economics Explained, Mentor, Pilot, Futurism, Astrum, The Drive, and...
I see some familiar faces up here. These are like fake natty channels. Pumped and injected with venture capital money. These people aren't bootstrapped. It's all an astroturfing campaign. People are like, I like Fern animations. You're watching literal slop, okay? Funded by shadowy organizations. Here at Third Eye Global, we slice through with pure parasocial authenticity. What you see is what you get.
And history hits have all publicly been acquired by private equity. Outside of the nerd corner of YouTube, some of the biggest names in the space, including Cocomelon, Colin and Samir, The Theorist, and Dude Perfect, have also, all partially or completely been...
Cocomelon! I'm an adult iPad baby.
...been acquired. These are also only the acquisitions that we know about because they chose to be upfront.
Hold on. Let's see how much money these people are getting. We're going to grok for this. How much? All caps. I only type in all caps. Private equity. Did YouTube channels like Colin and Samir receive? This is going to piss me off. Nah. Not publicly disclosed. Partially or fully owned by investment groups. That's a black pill right there. I don't know. Something about that just doesn't appeal to me. Outsider investment from a bunch of pencil neck fucking dork geeks sitting at some boring round table looking at graphs and charts when they probably can't even bench 225 themselves. This isn't even selling out. This is like a Faustian deal. There's no aura in selling out like that. Keep it 100. You feel me? Yeah. Yo, I feel you. Keeping it 100, staying true to the grind. Nah.
their audience. There's no law requiring these deals to be publicly disclosed, and as you'll soon see, there are some really good reasons why they might want to keep it quiet. So why is this a problem? It's easy to say that private equity is just
because nothing is from the soul anymore. Nothing comes from the spiritual realm. There's no off-the-dome schizophrenic energy with no fear. Where are the men in the arena? Not many. Not many. You know what? I knew something was off.
Inherently bad, and to be fair, it's had some problems. But that shouldn't be enough by itself. Instead, what you should know is why private equity firms have suddenly become so interested in YouTube channels, and what this will likely mean for the future of the content that you watch. Big YouTube channels are really just businesses in the entertainment industry. Even completely independent creators still need to cover their own.
See, my YouTube channel is an extension of myself. Like, what is Philion without a YouTube channel? I cease to exist. It's all or nothing, baby.
Living expenses, and creating content does cost money. Film equipment, software, location shoots, perhaps a hired video editor, it all adds up.
You don't need that. You just need a shitty webcam and a Shure SM7B that you don't even have dialed properly. That's all you need.
A lot of medium-sized creators barely scrape by, paying themselves fairly modestly. And in the interest of transparency, even this channel, which now has over 70,000 subscribers, has lost money most months since I started it.
That's a skill issue. Gotta adapt or die, baby.
Anyway, all of this can be fixed with scale. As creative brands grow, their revenue increases while their costs stay relatively stable. At a certain size, most of these channels can generate strong cash flows and predictable profits, which should make them desirable investable assets like any other business, right? Well, not exactly. These operations are incredibly risky, even by small to medium business standards. Most of them depend on a single platform for the majority of their revenue.
Not us, baby! I mean, we got the content hydra. Kick.com/Philion. YouTube.com/Philion. We jump ship on Twitch.com, because it's a gooner platform. And there's no aura over there, but please. You slice off one head of the hydra, another one sprouts. We're ungovernable.
And these platforms can ban, restrict, or moderate their content overnight, often with little to no explanation. SunnyV2 and about a dozen copycat channels have built their entire career on saying that the algorithm stopped recommending their content.
Huh?
Because it genuinely happens so often. On top of that, most of these
The algorithm.
You could replace the algorithm with audience, and you'd probably get a more closer depiction to reality, right? If you don't understand the optics of who you're speaking to and who you want to speak to, well, then you're lost in the soy sauce, buddy.
businesses depend on a single personality to host the content, even if there's a larger team working behind the scenes. Human beings, especially those that share their lives online, can get burnt out, get embroiled in controversy.
You know what's crazy? And this is a high IQ 5-head take from a
Content creator, influencer.
but I tell you like how it is. You're not owed anything in this life, in this world, in this realm. Just because you get a little motion on the internet, that doesn't mean you deserve success and stability. Psh, that's not how the world works. They're out here acting like being a content creator is this novel fucking, for humanity burden. Nah. You gotta go in the trenches. You gotta figure it out. And listen, some of them don't make it. Some of them don't have the wherewithal, the know-how, the expertise, the proficiency to think long-term. Everyone wants instant gratification.
Or just fall out of favor with an audience that outgrows them. Typically, the wealthy investors and lenders that give money to private equity firms for them to make their acquisitions would be scared away by these business fundamentals. But over the past 5
What happens if you don't pay back the private equity loan? Why can't you just steal it? Oh, flop, dude. Sorry. Sucks. Can they sue you?
years, a few things have changed which kicked off the great buy-up. The first major change was that creators demonstrated their ability to scale their own brands to generate profits beyond sponsored segments, audience donations, and integrated platforms. Some of these brands have been very successful, others not so much. Even if Beast Burger and Prime Energy completely implode, they were a test case that showed that real brands can be launched through clowns on the internet. If that initial success could be paired with—
What do all three of those things have in common? Prime, Lunchly, and Beast Burger. Fucking slug food. Eating shit I wouldn't even touch.
the private equity team that actually knew how to run a business, theoretically, then there would be some real money to be made. Another big push that's come from the fact that legacy media, which is large, centralized, rigid, and needs to be broadly appealing, is losing out to millions of individual creators who are flexible, can make content specifically targeted to particular audiences.
Dude. When I was 19 or 20, I made some videos with Juji Mufu, and I was out in California, and I was in over my head. I didn't really know what I was doing, right? Because I was just making these quirky, funny videos. And now it's like, oh shit, there's an actual bodybuilder and social media personality that like wants to make content, but you don't really know what to make content about. Anyways. Had a great time with Juji and Tom. They truly are really nice people. When I was out in California, Juji did a video with Smosh. And this was when Smosh was like separate. So it was like, dude, I could find the video. Where it's like, you laugh, you lose. And this shit got like 50 million views. And I was just on like, I was in the director chair just watching it because I had nothing to do. But I met like these Hollywood astroturfed influencers, right? Because, listen, I like to brag about the fact, because I think there is aura in it. Being that OG YouTuber, you did it yourself in the sense that like you were just in a bedroom talking to the camera schizophrenically, versus like being an actor hired by this company and now you're a personality on behalf of Smosh, right? Something is lost there. So the video got like 50 million views, but I remember being in the boardroom with all these Smosh people. And I talk, what are the two Smosh guys' name? It's Anthony Padilla and the other guy. Anthony wasn't there. It was the guy with the glasses. Nice guy. Nice guy. But the people all had this like veneer, like the actual actors. They had they were like Hollywood people. And I was like, oh, you guys like aren't like the same thing. Like we're not. Like they went to a boardroom, they discussed the content for the day, and they had like a shoot. Yeah, it was Ian. And I was just like, this is not what YouTube really is all about. This is a Hollywood C-tier production. And I was just like, I can't see this lasting. There's nothing about this is authentic. This is Coco Melon for adults. And I don't know. I think I was correct.
Without worrying about tarnishing the reputation of a gigantic media company. These companies now have to fight for advertiser dollars, which are being split over more mediums than ever. Now, this trend is nothing new. Google has been the largest advertising platform in the world for more than a decade now. But another threat these legacy businesses are facing is the competition for talent. A lot of people would rather operate their own YouTube channel over working on something like an old-school TV show. Investors in these companies are worried about these threats, and they're putting pressure on company leadership to do—
I was about to say, there is no talent.
something about it. One of the central focuses of Netflix's Q1 memo to their investors was reassurance that they are not having any problems finding advertisers, and they presented a better opportunity to creators to make their show through them rather than produce it independently. Other legacy companies have started taking a simpler approach. If you can't beat them, buy them. Even if the business case is not that strong, a company like...
Chat, what's our number? 7 figs, 8 figs, 9 figs? $7 gorillion?
Disney giving a few $1 million to a private equity firm that specializes in acquiring YouTube channels lets their executives say that they are prepared for the threats that new media presents. Appeasing shareholders is often a lot more important to senior management than making genuinely good business decisions, especially when an investment of a few $1 million is actually quite cheap. Before around...
I was about to say, you know what pisses me off about this? To these mega private equity fucking venture capitalist firms, couple mil is like flipping a penny. Right? Enjoy your shekels. What do I look like, a fool? What am I, a prostitute? The power dynamic is completely skewed in their favor. It's like, we own you now. There's no risk for them.
2020, old school media companies were still going about this in their own old school way. They would invest in traditional companies that just happen to have a new media digital first focus. Think of business.
You see, all these companies are corporate slop, because the second you get that venture capital money or private equity, you can't be your unfiltered self. Everything you say has this sheen of corporate minimalism and efficiency.
Businesses like Vice, BuzzFeed, Mashable, and Vox. These brands would build their own IP and primarily rely on platforms like Facebook and YouTube to distribute it, but behind the scenes, they were still operated like traditional media companies, with a lot of staff, city offices, and all the expenses that come with them. Which meant these were terrible businesses. They would burn cash, and they were much more expensive to acquire in the first place. Vice Media was once valued at over $5.5 billion. That's an unreasonable valuation for an organization.
Should have sold. You could be sipping Aperol Spritz on the coast of Italy right now.
That primarily distributed through a YouTube channel and a Facebook page. These are pages that get similar monthly viewership to Atriox's Daily Clips channel. Now, clearly these are not the same thing, but...
See, that's a problem in itself. This guy gooned so hard he bought AI porn and then cried to his wife, "You're never gonna live that down." Hello? Why do people watch other streamers? Nobody's doing it like us, bro. The Bugman speaks of this. Holy buckets. All this shit appeals to people that eat cricket bars.
one is obviously much cheaper to operate than the other, on top of being generally more advertiser friendly. The channel Modern MBA did a deep dive into these companies and their respective failures. He did a better job than I could ever do, so instead of retreading the same details, I'll just leave a link to that video if you're interested in that comedy of errors.
Oh, I can tell you why BuzzFeed and Vice went extinct. Because they were so far up their own fucking ass that they forgot how to make quality content in the first place. And they started focusing on all the shit that doesn't matter. Like why men can give birth. Back in the day, you would send an underpaid journalist to Somalia, and he'd come back with the most banger documentary about the global drug trafficking syndicate. And that was it. Boom, 50 million views.
But the point is, the legacy media companies that wanted to protect themselves against a wave of social media by throwing money at it needed a new solution. Instead of investing in companies to build an online audience, they could just invest in private equity firms that would buy out people who already had an audience. And then there's the private equity industry itself. Over the past 20 years, the scale of private equity operations has increased from less than a measly $1 trillion to over $12 trillion today in America alone, according to Preqin, a data firm who are themselves owned by BlackRock. With this much money to manage, they've simply run out of normal businesses to acquire. New private equity managers who want to start their own funds are entering a very saturated market, and one of the best ways to differentiate themselves is to invest in businesses that nobody else understands. According to public releases, the biggest firms in the YouTube space have collectively raised about $2 billion and borrowed an additional $2 billion on top of that. So it's still quite a small part of the overall private equity market, but that's still more than enough money for it to become an increasingly large part of your home.
Chat, when I sell out, you won't know, but there'll be signs. With 4 wheels. That's white. With black wheels. And a giant wing on the back. With the letter R on the grill.
Screen. Now, for the creators themselves, this is a perfectly understandable decision to make. Online fame can literally collapse at any second for any reason, so if they can sell part or all of their channel and secure that bag, I don't think anybody should begrudge them for doing it. But it will inevitably
Hey, that's the guy. That's what I was talking about.
Change their content slowly but surely over time. One of the things that
Oh, these are the people.
will inevitably change their content slowly but surely.
These are them, bro. I was like, you guys are like bug people. I don't know.
Over time. One of the things that made YouTube channels a viable investment in the first place.
That's it. We're doing $20 chat reads only.
Was their low overheads. A team of 2 or 3 people with off-the-shelf equipment can produce content that would have taken a whole studio at Legacy Media.
See, Marquez Brownlee hit 150 in a school zone in a Lamborghini Aventador. Based. Everyone else, trying to keep up, to be honest.
Companies. But when a channel is acquired by a private equity company, they become the overhead. The analysts, business development managers, strategists, and acquisition teams all need to be paid as well. This means that to maintain profitability, the channel needs to make more revenue, which means more videos, more questionable sponsorships, more products. The investors in
Oh, you're in the belly of the beast of endgame capitalism, bucko! Health is wealth. God damn it!
these firms also want to see consistent and continuous growth, which means they need to play the YouTube game with low-risk videos that are guaranteed to do well with the algorithm, accompanied by hyper-optimized thumbnails. Ultimately, what this means for you is that the content you watch is going to become more generic and safe within the parameters of what will optimize retention.
It's only a matter of time. Because as the AI slop and venture capitalist, fake Disney, gay content rises to the top, we'll be lurking in the shadows, slowly gaining power, standing out from the crowd. When they're zigging, we're zagging.
This also works with a private equity business strategy called rolling up, where multiple acquired channels will share management resources with one another. So if one thing works well for one channel, it'll be rolled out amongst all the channels in a portfolio. Now, independent YouTubers are absolutely guilty of this as well. I've personally spent many late nights making minor adjustments to my thumbnails to help my videos do just a little bit better.
Couldn't be me. You gotta take the fucking YouTube black pill, bro. Check this out. You think I spend more than 30 seconds making these thumbnails? Holy shit. Because it doesn't matter when you're based in real.
But without a bloated team that needs to be paid and investors that need to be kept happy, independent creators do have a little bit more leeway to take some
See,
creative.
all these people are trying way too hard. You need to be retard maxing. Philion speaks of this. You have to nerf yourself. Because in reality, you're not as good as you think you are. So stop trying to be.
Risks from time to time. Rolling up and hyper-optimization is only going to accelerate a trend of every single piece of content on YouTube moving towards the same generic but effective formula. This is amplified by another problem that comes when the channel turns into an asset, which is that they typically want to move away from the focus on a single creator. For more than a decade, a channel like Veritasium has been focused on the host, Dr. Derek Muller. For a lot of regular viewers, Dr. Muller is Veritasium, but if you've been watching the channel recently, you'll notice that new hosts are slowly being introduced.
What brings you on Kick? Well, surely you haven't been to the Third Eye Global shareholder meeting, but I'll pull it up for you right now. Let's be quick. Listen, there's not a question you could throw at us that will throw us off kilter, okay? It's Third Eye Global shareholder meeting deck. Please see slide 4. Why Kick? Okay, so they got a creator-first mindset, 95-5 rev split. No ads, green goes hard, and the CEO is not a turbo gooner. I believe that answered your question.
So the whole operation isn't as singularly focused on one personality. The business case is that it cuts down on something called Keyman risk, which is where the entire operation depends on one single person to continue. Since Veritasium isn't actually Derek's business anymore, there's nothing to stop him restarting a new channel from scratch or just retiring, since presumably he made millions of dollars from the acquisition in the first place. For other channels, this has already happened. If you search "why I left blank" in the YouTube search bar, there are endless videos from former personalities behind big channels.
This is a skill issue, bro. As Tony Soprano says, either jump with 2 feet in or get the fuck out, okay? Either sell out and enjoy your bag, or keep grinding in the trenches. It's the only way to do it. Okay, I don't want to hear these sob stories. I don't care about these personal skill issues. I see right through the veneer of corporate greed.
Talking about why they're suddenly showing up on a completely new channel. A common theme among most of them is that it wasn't their channel anymore. Most of these splits seem pretty
Why I left? Why they left me?
Why should I give a fuck?
amicable, often with the old channel commenting words of support under the video itself. But obviously, this is still a real problem behind the scenes. After losing their host, a lot of these channels have suffered from reduced viewership, and people are far less likely to directly support channels through merch or paid memberships when they know it's really just a faceless investment firm on the other side of the transaction. As this industry matures, we're more likely to see more onerous, non-compete contracts from acquired channels and a continuation of a trend towards commercially viable, predictable, and...
I mean, this is literally just... I mean, come on, guys. Look. This is what these people are doing right here. Faust literally warns of this. Obviously, you guys are not reading your literature. I mean, this is what we call a deal with the devil.
Are you performing your quotas? Are you optimizing your thumbnails?
That'll be 2% off the top. Get back to work, peasant.
safe content over the unique and creative content that made YouTube so compelling in the first place. Now go and watch this video next to understand the real reason every sponsor you see on YouTube is kinda terrible. Oh, and make sure to subscribe so I can get acquired one day too.
Yuck! That was so Quirk Chungus. Interesting video. Doesn't affect us though. We're watching from the bushes, in full fatigues, Arctic camo style. Just every day our competition just thins out because there is no competition. That's insane.